Imagine a man walking alone in the mountains. The cold wind cuts across his face, the sun flickers through thin alpine clouds, and beneath him, a world he feels increasingly detached from. He pauses, notebook in hand, and writes a sentence that will echo through centuries. He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you. The man is Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who dared to stare into the abyss of human existence, and who emerged with words that still unsettle and inspire us today. Nietzsche was born on October 15, 1844, in the small Prussian village of Reuchen, the same day as the birthday of the King of Prussia, Friedrich Wilhelm IV. His father, a Lutheran pastor, died when Friedrich was just 5 years old. His younger brother died shortly after. Surrounded by grief, Nietzsche grew up in a household of women: his mother, sister, grandmother, and 2 aunts. Even as a child, he was introspective and serious, nicknamed the Little Pastor. But he would not follow in his father's footsteps. Instead, his path would lead not to the pulpit, but to a profound questioning of everything sacred. Nietzsche was a prodigy. By his mid-20s, he had become the youngest professor in classical philology at the University of Basel. His mind was sharp, his memory astonishing, and his lectures filled with passion. He seemed destined for a conventional scholarly life. But Nietzsche was never conventional. While his colleagues analyzed Greek grammar, Nietzsche was reading Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Heraclitus for something far deeper, for the human spirit hidden beneath myth and tragedy. In his first book, The Birth of Tragedy, 1872, Nietzsche claimed that Greek culture was built upon a tension between 2 forces: the Apollonian, order, beauty, rationality, and the Dionysian, chaos, passion, and creative destruction. It was a radical idea that art and life itself are born from the dance of reason and madness. His colleagues hated it. His academic career began to crumble. But Nietzsche was just getting started. By his mid-30s, Nietzsche's health was collapsing. He suffered from migraines so severe he could not see for days. His eyesight faded, his stomach failed him, and his head pulsed with unbearable pain. He left teaching. He wandered through Switzerland, Italy, and France, carrying his notebooks and a relentless desire to understand the meaning of existence. In these years of solitude, Nietzsche wrote his greatest works: Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Beyond Good and Evil, and The Genealogy of Morality. Zarathustra was no ordinary book. It was part prophecy, part poem, part thunderbolt. It declared, "God is dead, and we have killed him." These words shocked the world, but Nietzsche didn't mean them literally. He meant that the old certainties of religion and morality no longer held cower in a modern, scientific age. Humanity had lost its guiding compass, and now had to invent its own meaning. He warned that this loss could lead to nihilism, a state where life feels meaningless. But Nietzsche didn't want despair, he wanted transformation. From the ashes of nihilism, Nietzsche imagined a new kind of human, the Übermensch, or overman. The Übermensch is not a tyrant, not a superhuman, but a symbol of self-overcoming, someone who creates their own values, who says yes to life even in the face of suffering. He wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." For Nietzsche, life was not about comfort or morality. It was about creation, struggle, and affirmation. Every moment, he believed, could be lived again and again, eternally, if only we embraced it fully. This was the essence of his philosophy, amor fati, the love of fate. But fate was cruel to Nietzsche. In 1889, while living in Turin, Italy, he witnessed a horse being whipped by its owner. He rushed to the animal, threw his arms around its neck, and broke down in tears. That moment marked his mental collapse. For the next 11 years, Nietzsche lived in the shadow of insanity, cared for by his mother and later his sister, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, unfortunately, would later distort his writings, aligning them with nationalism and anti-Semitism, ideas Nietzsche himself despised. It was this distortion that led to his philosophy being misused decades later by the Nazi regime, a tragedy Nietzsche could never have foreseen. He died in 1900 at the age of 55, having spent the last decade of his life in silence. When Nietzsche died, he was largely unknown, dismissed as a madman, a failed professor. But in the years that followed, his words caught fire. Writers like Franz Kafka, Thomas Mann, and Albert Camus found in him a voice that spoke to the modern soul. Psychologists like Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung saw him as a pioneer of the human unconscious, and even today, his ideas echo in art, literature, and existential philosophy. Nietzsche didn't give us answers, he gave us questions. What do we do when the old gods die? How do we create meaning in a world without absolutes? Can suffering be transformed into strength? He never wanted followers, he wanted thinkers. As he once said, "I am not a man, I am dynamite." To understand Nietzsche is to walk a dangerous path, one that leads through doubt, despair, and ultimately, awakening. He believed that to truly live, we must confront the darkness within ourselves and still have the courage to affirm life. In a sense, Nietzsche lived as he wrote, passionately, painfully, and unapologetically. He gazed into the abyss, and though it consumed him, his words still shine with fierce light. Perhaps Nietzsche's greatest message is not about death or despair, but about becoming. To face life as it is, fragile, fleeting, yet full of potential. To say yes to existence even when it breaks us. And to remember always, what does not kill me makes me stronger. This was the story of Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who looked into the abyss and dared us all to do the same.